Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever episode of The Wake Up. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday morning, January 7th. We have a great show for you today on the show. Syria, the Golden Globe Awards, and much, much more, including the talks to end the partial government shutdown. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Spencer Walsh. Let's get right into it. So, new news last night to possibly slow down a little bit the withdrawal of troops from Syria. So, President Trump's National Security Advisor John Bolton outlined on Sunday conditions for a withdrawal that could leave American troops in Syria for months or even years. Bolton's remark appeared to roll back the president's plan to withdraw all 2,000 troops within 30 days, a decision that surprised allies and drew objections from the Pentagon. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis found it within hours of Trump's announcement last month. So, yeah, no one really liked it at all. So, pretty much the point is that Bolton said the U.S. would remain in Syria until the Islamic State was completely defeated, and Turkey had guaranteed that it wouldn't strike Kurdish forces allied with the U.S. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plan is actually played out, if it is accepted, and see if they actually go and move to remove these troops from Syria or actually wait. So I think this is definitely a space to watch, and I think there's going to be a lot of conflicting news stories on this, because, I mean, that's just the way the White House works. Right now, the government shutdown is entering its third week. President Trump said on Sunday the negotiations to end the partial shutdown had been productive, but that Congress didn't allocate more than $5 billion for a border wall. He might use emergency authority to build the wall with other government funds. Democrats said there was no progress in ending the shutdown and appeared unmoved by Trump's shift to calling for a steel barrier rather than one made of concrete. So yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting. And I don't know if he's just kind of bluffing on that, but it's going to be very, very crazy, I think. And I think there's actually going to be really a lot of people who object to that. You just use kind of dictatorial power to build the wall in that kind of front. But I mean, it's getting to a point where there's so many people want him to build a wall on his base. I mean, he's like $5 billion, why not? And then if he throws in, like, what I'm really worried about is the Dems caving around the DACA deal in terms of funding for the wall. Although Chuck Schumer did say recently in an interview that he was not. But yeah, I don't know. So what's next, though, for this is Nancy Pelosi said the House would begin considering bills this week to reopen the departments that handle crucial functions like tax refunds and food stamps. So opens some parts of that government, it makes sense. That's a good thing to do. And also, just based on the border, a little check-in on what's going on there right now. Right now, only a handful of asylum seekers at the border are allowed into the U.S. each day. As despair grows, so do the profits of human smugglers. So that is what's going down there right now. It's not a very good situation. This kind of law that's been agreed to by the U.S. and Mexico is really not helping asylum seekers who have a right to enter the country by law. And really seek asylum from the awful situations that they're coming into. I mean, at least wait while their claims are to be processed. And the fact that that's not being given to them, again, it's not, like, this is not the way asylum should work. And the fact that they're being put in harm's way, this is just not very, it's kind of despicable. All right. American factories are in the way of the trade war at the moment. Trade talks between the U.S. and China begin today in Beijing, and there's pressure really from both sides to achieve a truce. Complaints about from American industry are growing as the trade war disrupts factories that depend on imported parts, saying, quote, "It's killing us," the chairman of a company in Michigan said, the chairman of a company in Michigan that's considering moving its production to Mexico. And yeah, this is obviously, I mean, it's really starting to hurt people. Some people are not really being affected by it, but there's a good portion of people who are, and the portion of people who are being affected at this time is only broadening, so it's definitely going to be something that Trump's going to have to look into. He's really going to want to push to win this trade war, or just at least get it over with, because I do think it makes everyone kind of happier, and not many people were too thrilled when it started, but now people, just the overall mood has gone continuously downhill. Also, though, President Trump says the United States has advantage in trade negotiations, as the Chinese economy has, by several measures, been humbled by tariffs a little bit more than ours has, and he does have a small point there. So interesting night of upsets at the Golden Globe. Bohemian Rhapsody, the Freddie Mercury biopic, I guess that's how you say it, was named the best drama on Sunday, beating out the favorite A Star Is Born, which ended the night with one award just for best song. Another surprise, Lady Gaga, whose role in A Star Is Born was expected to earn her a Best Actress award, lost to Glenn Close, who won for The Wife. Green Book was the night's big winner, taking home 3 trophies. It was a movie about a driver and a piano man traveling the Deep South together for the Piano Guys concert tour. It's a black piano guy, so I was going to imagine there's a lot of racial tensions there. It was quite a good movie, actually. Went to go see it. It was night's big winner, and took home 3 trophies. So, we'll focus a little bit on diversity, a little political commentary. It really did stay out of trouble, so that is interesting. And there was some kind of jokes, but that is, I guess, what happens when we have hosts like Sandra Oh and Andy Samberg. So, not too much is going to happen. These are kind of no drama people. Also today there has been an arrest in a death of a 7-year-old. A suspect has been charged in the killing of Jasmine Barnes, a African-American second grader who was shot and killed in Houston while in a car with her family. That's dark. Witnesses had described the gunman as white, leading to fears of a racially motivated shooting, but the suspect charged on Sunday is an African-American man. The USS Cole suspect has been killed in an American airstrike in Yemen last week. Is thought to have killed a man suspected of helping to plot the Al-Qaeda bombing of the U.S. Navy destroyer back in 2000, so that's good. More trickery has been exposed in the Alabama race. The Times has learned of a second stealth campaign in the state 2017 Senate race, an effort that appeared to be the work of supporters of Republican candidate Roy Moore was actually led by progressive Democrats to come in and help kind of campaign as prohibitionist. So through a Dry Alabama Facebook page. So that was that's a little interesting there. So also in media news, there's a new chief of CBS News, Susan Zorinsky, longtime producer of 48 Hours, will replace David Rhodes as the president of the network's news division in March. In France, Yellow Vest protesters at again. They attacked a government building in Paris over the weekend, forcing the minister to evacuate. That's crazy. There's been over the weekend also an attempted coup in Gabon. The president took over state radio today to contest the ability of the military took over state radio today to contest the ability of President Ali Bongo Ondimba to carry out his responsibilities in Morocco, right now recovering from a stroke. So that's pretty crazy. NFL playoffs, the Chicago Bears missed a late field goal, sending the Philadelphia Eagles to the next round. Crazy game out in Baltimore. I don't know if you saw that. We'll have more on that this weekend on For the Win and all the other games coming up. And the College Football Championship in sports is tonight. Alabama, Clemson, both again will be facing off for the national title. Check that out. Very, very interesting. So right now, it's also CES week. So the International CES is the annual showcase for the world's biggest consumer electronics company, and it begins this week in Las Vegas. So there's going to be a lot of interesting new gadgets and things coming out of there. So that is what you need to know this morning. I think we covered it. So thank you so much for tuning in. That is it for us. All right. Do check out Newsflash tonight around 10 when we go out and release that, and continue to subscribe. Go tell your friends about the Wake Up.